Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 250 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. 250!
Yeah.
That's it. So we have a giveaway, but a contest, but we'll get to that in a minute. I just want to tag on here with the sponsor. So what happened last week was somebody had a question about DVC in the town Facebook page, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so our town has two competing Facebook pages because you know how towns are, right?
Yeah,
like
well, I have a neighborhood Facebook page, right?
We do too. We do too.
Yeah, we get the neighborhood Facebook page.
I mean, our town is pretty big. In each of these groups, there's about 40,000 people, so they're large. But what I found interesting was somebody had been talking about they had been saving for DVC. You know, they had just finally gotten enough money. But they were thinking about a cruise and things like that. And, you know, and then, you know, people start piling in, you know, hey, you know, that's a waste of your money. And then I was like, whoa. Yeah. Hold on a second. I said, look, there's, you know, DVC Resale has point swap. And it was interesting because I thought like it's Facebook. I thought everyone was going to be like, hey, you know, well, who cares? Like, shut up. And everyone was very receptive to it. And, the OP was like, oh, wow, I didn't know about that. That actually makes things a little bit easier. So there I was out in the wild plugging our sponsor.
Out in the wild.
Exactly.
Well, you know, too.
The wilds of the interwebs.
Yeah, but those Facebook groups for like towns and for neighborhoods get like really out of hand all the time.
And I thought I was going to catch some, you know. No, it was
you got
receptive.
Lucky. Yeah, you absolutely got lucky.
Yeah, no.
It can only do so much, right? That's in those groups because you feel like you want to help out even more. But I've learned my lesson. In some of these groups, people have asked about things that, you know, I don't know, let's say swim team or this or something else or coming from New Jersey or, you know, anything like that. And I've been like, hey, well, just message me. And then I was like, no more of that. That has turned into absolute disasters for sure. So
yeah, there's a lot of drama in my neighborhood Facebook group. It's
our neighborhood's not probably as big as yours. Our old neighborhood had like 800 houses. That one had a lot of drama. The new neighborhood has like 80 houses. So it's not so bad. Yeah, and no pool or anything.
Like most of the posts in the neighborhood one are people not picking up their dog poop.
Yep. That was in the old neighborhood too. Yep.
Somebody posted yesterday of somebody's garbage overflowing on the side of their house, just like they had too much garbage.
Wait, you're allowed to have cans on the outside of your house?
Yeah, they're on the side though. They have to not be visible. They have to not be visible. So.
Oh well, yeah. The sides of everyone's house is what they would consider visible in our.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, technically, you know, they're visible, but they don't.
Yeah, see, we can't get away with that. Yeah, ours are in the garage.
They took it from the side of the house. It was on the side of the house, and there's trash everywhere. And then
listen, if you can take a picture of it from the street, then that's visible.
Right? It's just you know, people complain about fireworks. I mean,
so glad that's not
complain about fireworks too.
Oh, I'm the complainer about fireworks. Like I'm a main person on that post. I think I talked about it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago that somebody shot off fireworks on Christmas Eve at like
that's what made me move out of my old neighborhood. That's literally the thing. They were shooting fireworks in our neighborhood. And our houses were not that far apart, right? It was one of those the neighborhoods, right?
It's like my neighborhood. I'm in a cul-de-sac. My house is fairly
huge house, but it's on 0.25, right?
Yeah.
And they literally were shooting fireworks, and they were going over the top of my roof on Christmas Eve. And I'm like, dude, you can't shoot fireworks over the top of my roof. Like, and then I was just like, I had enough of this neighborhood and I moved out. That was the straw that broke my back, was the fireworks.
I found a bottle rocket in my backyard. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh,
we didn't talk about this on an episode. This was when we were playing mini golf.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
I was like, wait, we had this conversation, but then I realized
this conversation. But was it like? No.
Yeah, this is while you were playing or while we were playing mini golf.
That's funny.
We had this whole conversation.
Because I didn't remember that conversation.
No, I found a blown up. I found a blown up bottle rocket in my backyard. And it was right next to the outside wall of my house. So, which means it hit my house, right? Like it either hit my roof and rolled down or hit my siding. And I'm just like, listen, I'm not against fireworks. I'm just against you doing fireworks after 10 o'clock at night. Like make it reasonable. Like if you're going to, because I've shot fireworks off before in my cul-de-sac, but I was done by 9 o'clock. I mean, and we cleaned everything up. Whereas, some of the other people just like make a mess and they just leave it there. And like, I don't know.
I feel like if I'm going to complain about something, I can't do that something. So I refuse fireworks because then I can't complain about them.
It's easy for me. They're full out banned in my city.
Well,
Nobody can shoot off fireworks. So
aren't they banned in North Carolina too? I feel like
but I'm 10 minutes from South Carolina, which is straight up lawless. So I mean, you can do anything in South Carolina. So you just go across the border. You buy something that could blow your hand off, and then you bring it back. Like that's I mean,
Tom
in New Jersey,
snitching on himself right now. Everybody,
I have no fireworks in my house. I should mention that.
He leaves it to Disney to do the fireworks.
Yeah. No, listen, I haven't done fireworks in a while. Actually, we did them a couple years ago, but I haven't done them in a while. But not since my daughter's been born, I think.
So that went totally off the rails.
Yep.
So we have to
get to our big 250 announcement. So what we're going to do is we are going to give away something from Shop Disney on the Dooney and Burke portion of Shop Disney. But don't get crazy. No weekender bags, right? Like it's going to have a limit on it. We will continue to give you information on this limit. But this is the way it's going to work. There is going to be a word every episode. 3 episodes we decided, this episode and 2 more right after it, right? So 3 in a row. You need to have those 3 words, and you need to email us at contest@welcomehomepodcast.com, which I guess I got to set up today, right? That would be bad if I didn't. I'll make sure
also,
I do that
Damon,
today.
I think we shouldn't say when the word is going to be said. It could be the end of the episode. It could be the middle of the episode.
Sure.
It could be
absolutely.
anytime. So you got to listen.
It could be any time. So you have to listen to the next 3 episodes. And like I said, after that 3rd week, we'll have a 2-week time frame to email this in, and then we'll send. You can get to pick something out from the Dooney and Burke section of Shop Disney.
Sounds good.
What's the word this time, though?
I don't know.
Make it easy for the first one. Shouldn't it be now?
No.
We got.
I will get the word, and then we will work it in. Don't worry.
We got to wait till later, so they actually listen to the whole episode.
Okay.
This is happening right now, so I'm figuring this out.
Okay, that sounds Trevor.
So you can't put it all the way at the end, because then people will just fast forward all the way to the end, right? So you got to have it randomly in there.
But I have to go and make this email, otherwise it's going to be a problem. I might as well do that now.
Okay, well that's good. So I posted in the Facebook group. There's not a lot of news this week, so we're gonna do it's our 250th episode. Wow, I would love to know how many total hours of content that is, because not all of our episodes are an hour long. Most of them are longer than that. So I mean, it's got to be more than 250 hours that we spoke on here, which is crazy. It's a lot of time.
Oh yeah,
I mean, not only that, but there's the
sideshows.
The sideshows, yeah.
Yeah, then the live shows and all that.
So actually, before we get into the questions, just I know last week we said I was going to do a trip report for my upcoming trip. So that's not for a couple of weeks. So I'm actually pushing that we'll do that next week, because we wanted to have some fun with listener questions here on this episode.
Yeah, this is kind of, I mean, I was saying to the guys before the show, my wife always asked me like, oh, what are you guys going to talk about today? And I was like, truthfully, most of the time we don't know what we're going to say before we actually say it. So
that's what makes it fun.
That's what makes it fun. It's just kind of, we start talking about fireworks and trash. Anyway, so Brian asked in the Discord, I have a topic I'd enjoy hearing you guys cover. With all the tech needed to take full advantage of Disney World Vacation, do you think it hurts the casual guest? On our last trip, we were there during peak season, and there were a lot of guests from Asia and Latin America. Almost all of them had paper maps, and no one used mobile order. I think someone not familiar with my Disney experience would leave the parks frustrated watching guests who take advantage of these services. We saw a lot of frustrated guests due to confusion from culture and language barrier. Would be interested if others have seen similar. I feel like my opinion on this is I would agree with you if they didn't have people everywhere to help you, right? Like they have all those little booths, those guest experience booths that, where they can help people. They have multilingual people all around. But also, like, I feel like, and this is going to sound bad, but I feel like you have to do your preparation before you go. Like, if I were going to go to, like, Tokyo, Disney, like, if I were going to go to somewhere in one of those Asian countries, like, I would research a ton beforehand. I would be prepared for whatever was going to be there, because truthfully, I'm the type of person, like, I like to be prepared for these kinds of things. I don't want to be in that kind of situation. I also, I saw recently, and I thought this was interesting. I think I saw that Universal is eliminating paper maps completely and just going mobile. So I mean, I'm surprised that Disney's even still offering paper, like at this point, they're still doing paper maps. I mean, I think a lot of people are moving just more towards only using apps and only using, phones. But it's interesting though, too, because one of the arguments, you talk about mobile order, one of the arguments against FastPass, right? If you watch that really cool FastPass thing on, what was the YouTube channel, Trevor?
I've completely.
Why am I blanking on it? Too. Yeah. Anyway,
theme park tourist.
No, it's not. It's I forget. Well. But anyway, well, I'll find it later. But there's a really great like hour and a half long examination of FastPass where they like really dig down deep into why FastPass was a problem. But one of the things they mentioned was that it was a really unequal thing, right? Because there were some people that knew really how to use it and take advantage of it. And then you had people that just kind of knew how to use it and were using it. And then you had other people that weren't even aware that it existed, right? And had no idea how to use it. And so, like, I think you're always going to have that, right? And I mean, I don't know if the app will show up in different languages. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would think it does, right? I mean, I don't know.
It was on Defunct Land was the video.
Defunct Land, yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't been on Defunct Land, go and watch that FastPass thing if you have an hour and a half of free time and you're interested in these sort of things. Or just go on Defunct Land because they have like cool videos about like, lands that were either never built or things that were closed or, like they've got lots of cool things. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
But yeah, so I was going to, kind of reiterate on what you're talking about with, the language thing is, so my brother went to Tokyo Disney. So he's been on the other side of the going to a foreign park where you're not speaking the primary language. And the thing about Tokyo Disney is that, like Disneyland, they are multilingual. They do have a lot of stuff posed in English and Japanese, but it still poses the same problem. Like if you're going to use an app, if the app is not published in your language, what do you do? Right. Because the thing is that, like you said, it's like, oh, if I'm going to another country, I will look up, how do I say certain things in this language? How do I navigate? But you've only got so much time to do it. And there comes a breaking point where, you don't want to spend, months, like months or years learning a language for, a trip that's going to last you like 2 weeks. Right.
Well, but even now, though, Trevor, there's like tools. I mean, you could use Google Translate for live conversations. Like you could have,
but you know that.
I know, but like people should know. Like
that's, but this comes back to the point of people using paper maps and stuff. Is not everybody has access to those tools. So even though yes, there are translation tools and stuff, people don't always know that they're there, or they don't use them outside of planning a trip. So I can see where this is where this question gets kind of interesting, is that, we're all approaching this from the point of view of, well, in North America, everything is done this way. But, in Asia and Latin America, you can't assume that they're operating on the same playing field as us. Like they're just not. And sometimes they're doing better than us. Like I know in some Asian countries, like, they know like QR codes are everywhere. They know to just, scan, and they use apps and everything's fine. But then there's other places where they don't do that stuff at all. And it's very foreign. And it's funny because it kind of gets into the same position. I feel it's not just people from other countries. It's also, I dealt with this in 2019 when I went with my parents, was that, older generation or people that just don't adopt technology, this stuff is a struggle for them too. Because I remember I was helping my parents and I was helping them set up my Disney experience, and they were very overwhelmed by it. And they were expressing their frustration to me that they're like, how are we supposed to know any of this? Like they actually said, if you weren't here, we would have had no idea how to do any of this. And they would have eventually figured it out. But because of how fast things move at Disney, there would have been a lot of things that they would have never done if they didn't have somebody who knew the app. So, I feel like they're, kind of to the point about Disney not, or, them not getting rid of paper maps, is that I think they acknowledge the fact that not everybody is moving at the same pace. And as much as I feel we're people that are on the bleeding edge and we want to see them move faster, but we have to wait for people to catch up.
To your point, Trevor, like my brother-in-law's parents, I remember they went to Disney during the pandemic when it was mobile order only, like when you could only do mobile order, and they had a really hard time with it. But, to me, though, again, I think Disney's really good about this, right? Like even when they were doing the mobile order only, they had people standing outside the restaurant showing you how to do it, or they even had tablets where they could do it for you. Like, and then, with all the Disney experience things, they have those booths that are all over the parks, like to help people, with these things. So, I get what you're saying. I feel like, it's an argument between the anti-technology people and the technology people, right? But I understand what you're saying culturally too. And I actually just looked this up. Disney has park maps in 5 different languages. So it's what's it, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and I think I saw Japanese. And then English, of course. Yeah, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Japanese. So I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they're still doing, and German too. Sorry. And so I'm assuming they're still printing them all. I mean, I can't remember the last time I got a park map, right? Like I haven't gotten a park map in years.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, I mean, do they still? I mean, they still have them, right? I've seen people post pictures of them. I this is a weird like blind spot for me because I just have never thought to. I don't even look. Like, why would I even look?
I will pay attention when I'm there because, I'm not even looking for this stuff, but I'm pretty sure they're under, like when you come into Magic Kingdom, it's under the archway, like where the stroller rental is. I feel like they're around there.
Yeah, but, no, I think that's where they are. Yeah. People sell these on eBay for what? like what? Who's buying a Disney park map on eBay?
The same people that are buying soap from 1995 that was in a Disney hotel.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I mean, there's a whole eBay account called Maps of Disney, and they sell for $5 the free maps that you get. Like, does this person just like walk up to like the thing every day and just like take a handful and like look both ways and hope no one catches them? Like,
I'm sure they're not even worrying about people catching them. I mean, you really think the cast members are caring if somebody grabs a handful of maps?
I mean, you're probably right about this. I mean, but like, look, is 101 sold? I mean, 913. There's like, that's insane.
Technically, they are limited edition because the maps are continually being updated. So,
I mean, that's true. I feel like these are going to be like stacked up in somebody's basement. Like this is like a hoarder thing to buy these and like, just hang on to them forever. I don't know. All right. So,
all right.
Damon, do you have any thoughts about this technology thing or no?
No thoughts.
No thoughts. None at all. Do you prefer technology or not technology? You're not getting park maps,
so I don't
right?
care.
You don't do anything?
No, I don't do any of that. So
Really?
I don't order food. I don't book rides. I don't do any of that. So for me, I have no idea.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So Joe asked, question for discussion on the next podcast, multifamily vacation options. Looking ahead to booking our next annual trip, there are some resorts where a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom are less points than a 3-bedroom, and other resorts where 2 separate rooms are more or about even with a 3-bedroom. Hoping you three could discuss the pros and cons of planning a DVC multifamily vacation where each family has their own booking based on family size versus being under one roof in a grand villa. What do you see as the advantages, disadvantages? I feel like I'm about to do like a research paper.
I just don't. Okay. If you have the money, there is no benefit of all staying together. I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion.
Meanwhile,
if you're crimping for points, it's a different story.
I mean, meanwhile, I'm doing exactly that in 3 months.
But
so.
Are you worried more about your money, other people's money, or what at all?
I'm actually not worried about the money part at all. Like that's not even.
Then why have everyone together? Why limit your bathroom time? Which is always my high priority.
There's 4 bathrooms in the Grand Villa. Like I'm not worried about that. 10 people.
then that's not enough bathrooms.
But each room gets
people in bathrooms 40% of the time.
Yeah, like
yeah, dude. I need a bathroom for every single person
in there, man.
No.
That's lots of bathrooms. I mean,
not enough bathrooms.
I mean,
right now I could see 3 of my kids being in the shower at the same time. So boom, there's 3 bathrooms just knocked out.
Well, we have 3 different families, so we,
so you have one bathroom for just your family.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
we
terrible.
used to stay in studios all the time.
Absolutely terrible.
Okay, so keep in mind, Damon, that's it's 3 of them versus 5 in your family.
Yeah,
so like my family, we can get by with 1 bathroom. I agree with you that more is better, but
and when it's your family, it's also a little bit different. I will tell my kids, I am going to use the bathroom, or they would be like, yo, get out of the shower. I'm going to use the bathroom. Like there's a lot more discussion that can happen inside of your family, but outside of the family,
I mean,
that's not different. Plus, I just don't want to be around that many people all day. Like I need like that downtime, that break.
But that's why you have your own room.
You're holed up in a room.
No, that I'm with Damon on this one because when I was younger, we did do so it wasn't at Disney, but like we would go and rent cabins, and like a cabin could sleep like 12 people, and I remember it was with my cousins and stuff like that, and exactly what you're talking about, Damon. The problem is that it's great that you're all hanging out and whatever, and if you're all you're going to the beach together, all that kind of stuff, but when you just want somewhere to go and have, some of us just need quiet time, or you need time disconnected from people. If you're relegated to a room, it's also not quiet, right? Like you're still hearing people. People are still bothering you. Like even if you tell them not to. And not only that, I feel like for me, I go to bed early. My kids don't go to bed early. So now if we're all stuck in one room, hey, listen, that's just me. I feel like if I had my choice, I'd rather spend more points, have more rooms. Even when we go away with my parents, when we go to Disney, they get their own room. I mean, we literally live in the same house now. When my parents came with us, we did that as well. Yeah. We had separate rooms because we all, my parents sometimes they actually would leave the park earlier than us, and they wanted to go back to their room. And we didn't want to be disturbing them. So.
I don't know. I just find a certain amount of convenience with all of us being in the same room. I mean, the same general room. We're not all.
But what is the convenience for you?
That we can all just leave together. That I don't have to go find people or have to, like.
I mean, you understand though. Like when you book 2 rooms, you're probably booking on the same hallway, right?
Maybe. I mean, you don't know if you're going to have them close to each other.
I've never had that problem.
I mean, you request it if you're like that. Yeah. That's what I would do. Is I would make the room request that they're close together. Yeah. They'll accommodate that.
Well, I also look at it this way though too. Like, so we bought our DVC points to share with our family, right? We bought them so that our family could go on vacations with us, right? And so. If they wanted to do a separate room, we have talked about doing separate rooms, right? We've talked about it, and it's possible, we might still try to do that. I don't know. It's kind of last minute at this point. So
you're paying for the whole situation with your points. They're not giving you anything.
Correct. Yeah.
But then it is about money.
Well, no, it's not, it's really not. It's
about money for them.
Yeah, but we have the point. Like I said, we bought our points.
Well, you have the points, absolutely, but no one's giving you money.
No, we're not asking.
Way different. Of course, you're not, right? And that makes it way different, though, because Tom asked me if I want to go on vacation with you. I spend no money versus spending money. Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be like, all right,
that's why we do it
with Tom for no money. Like, yeah.
We want my daughter to go on a vacation with her cousins,
absolutely,
and her grandparents, and
there's nothing wrong with it, but it still is a money situation.
Yeah, but you're right, but we never actually talked about the money piece, right? Like it was never like, hey, we don't have the money to get our own hotel room. Can you guys do DVC? It was
of course, because you offered up front.
Yeah,
which is very nice of you. But again, if someone's going to give me a free vacation, then yes. So the question begs, would it rather be 3 rooms or 1 room? But 3 rooms, I got to pay. 1 room, I don't have to pay. Now, all of a sudden, my bathroom issue becomes way less relevant if it's free.
Yeah. No,
poop in the woods. Like it don't matter at that point if it's free, right? Like,
please don't do that at Disney. People,
let's not.
Wait, hold on.
They will walk you off property.
You could go to the communal bathrooms at that point.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining someone getting escorted out of the park by security and just going, "Welcome home podcast told me to poop in the woods."
No pooping in the woods. Poop in the communal bathrooms, though.
Oh God. So no, listen. I've always wanted to also stay in a grand villa too. Like that was I'm kind of
checking this off my list. Staying in a grand villa with 10 people. Staying in a grand villa with 3 people.
Well, I would never spend that many points for a grand villa for 3 of us. Like that's crazy.
I feel the same way about staying in one of the bungalows at the Poly. Is I would love to stay there with 3 people, but it probably won't happen.
I mean, it's good. I think it's going to be fine.
Listen, I'm sure it will be fine. That's not. There's definitely no issue.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me. And it comes down to the difference of paying, not paying. Like if I'm paying no matter what, then yeah, I'd rather my own room.
The interesting conversation that's going on right now amongst our group is who gets the master bedroom. Now,
why is that even a discussion?
Hold on.
Why is it not you?
Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. So my family has 3 of us, right? And then the other family has 4 of them. And also they're bringing their nanny as well. So there's 5 of them. And then there's my in-laws, it's just the 2 of them. Right. So if we were to take the main, the master bedroom, then my daughter would have to sleep in one of the rooms with either my in-laws or with her cousins and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Right. And so in the past, when we've done these trips, we've always let the parents stay in the master bedroom, and then we have the 1 bedroom with my daughter, and because there's 2 queen beds in there, right? So that's what we've done because that's the only way it really works. If there was a 3rd bed in the master bedroom, it's not even a conversation, right? But it's just the 1 bed in the master bedroom. That makes it a little bit challenging.
Do they not have you could get a cot in there for your daughter?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we could do that. Yeah, I mean, that's an option too. But I mean, it's like, why do that if there's a bed available, though? It's. I
mean, I would say the nanny's pooping in the woods at this point.
Well, she's staying in the living room with the pull down Murphy bed. So, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, let's see. We're not only paying for my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, their kids, and my in-laws, but also for their nanny to come too. So, but we want the whole family together. So,
I mean, to Damon's point on that, I feel like, if you're the one who, put up the points, and again, not absolutely great that you did that. I feel like you should be able to call the shots on whatever the arrangements are. Like if you want to call dibs on the master bedroom, you should be able to do that. And this also goes back to Damon's point about, when you're talking about different families, would it make sense just to split people up into different rooms if you're getting to that discussion?
That's kind of why we talked about it, right? Because it's like, at that point, it's just complicated because of the amount of people, right? We need 2 beds. My in-laws need 1 bed. The other ones need 2 beds, right? So it just becomes a little complicated.
That's the other challenge of having everybody. More people makes the conversation more complicated. And I get, you're doing this because you do want to stay in the Grand Villa, and absolutely. By all means. But, I think it really does come down to your personal situation and what, back to Joe's original question is, how would you split this up? Well, that depends on what your family or your group of families is willing to tolerate. And, you guys need to have a conversation. Like if there's not a group chat set up and y'all aren't talking about this stuff now, you need to start doing that because
we've been
texting. One person.
We've been texting.
Well, I know you are, but I'm saying to like Joe, if he's not having that conversation,
you gotta have that conversation now.
That, if there's just one person planning this and they're like deciding for everybody, that's going to fall apart instantly. Like, you need to talk through this stuff if you got multifamilies.
Well, it's also an interesting thought though, too. Like if I were to say, okay, let's book 3 separate rooms, right? Let's book 3 separate rooms for this. Am I paying for everybody's rooms? Because it's like it's almost like a different thing when I'm getting one big room and they're like, hey, everybody come stay with us. But then if we're all getting separate rooms, it's like, so I'm just going to book everybody's rooms for them. I'm going to pay for everybody else's room. Like it's a different. I don't know.
If it was the same amount of points,
it feels different in my head, though. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It feels like I'm paying for them to go to whereas now I'm just like, I got a room. You guys come on over, come stay with us. Instead, I'm purposely booking a room just for them. That I don't know. It just feels different, even though it really isn't, I guess. I don't know. You know what I'm saying though? Like,
I get it. I mean, it's perception and all that, but yeah, I still feel if you're the one, putting the points up, you ultimately you get veto power, is my opinion.
Oh no, I agree with you. And in the past, like I said, we've decided that the parents get to stay in the master bedroom. And that, listen, is it kind of frustrating with that it's our points and that, we're not staying in the master bedroom? Sure. Like, like we should get to stay in the master. It's our points, we pay for them. But at the same time, it's just kind of what works out. And if they had that little pull down bed in the master bedroom, from the dresser, we would 100% stay in the master bedroom. It's just, we're all for whatever works out the best, and us staying in the same room as my daughter is what works out the best right now for us. But we're figuring it out. So I mean, I'm not, I don't know. There's a lot of options here, I think, that that you can take. And obviously I think we've answered this question just by discussing it, right?
I think so, but again, we've answered it from your point of view. I think Joe needs to have some talks with people, because he's in the same boat as you, that he's doing all of the booking.
Yeah.
So I feel, whatever he decides, he gets, he should take everybody's input to make sure that, he's trying to work with people, but at the end of the day, he gets to decide what the final configuration looks like.
Yeah, and I feel like, like you said, Trevor, if you're not having a conversation about how this is going to work, you should probably do that now-ish, Yeah. Sooner rather than later. Yeah, I mean, I wish we probably should have started talking about this sooner than we did. It really just kind of came out to be like, well, we're just going to book a grand villa and everyone can stay there. But, we didn't really think of the logistics piece of it, It was more like just, hey, let's just do this. We were going to get a grand villa. Let's have everybody stay together, But at this point, I don't think there's, another room for me to get anyway. Everything's going to be pretty booked up by this point. So, especially since I'm going during a pretty popular DVC time. So, anyway.
Yeah, let's. So we had some more questions in the Facebook group, right?
Yeah, Dan has been begging us to do wrestling segments for years now.
Yeah, I just read his question here, which sorry, Damon, it's not going to go on the golden button now.
Yeah, that's funny. Let me see here. So Dan says, "Congratulations." See, here's the problem with a wrestling question, Dan. I haven't watched wrestling for 20 years, so I don't even know who Cody Rhodes is. Couldn't tell you. It's no idea.
Unless it's Bret the Hitman Hart, I don't know anything about wrestling. And the only reason I know who Bret Hart is because he's from Calgary.
Yeah, from Canadian. Yeah. That's your fellow Canadians. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, so a Royal Rumble with Disney characters. I feel like we've done this. Didn't he ask us this before?
No, we've never talked about this in a wrestling context, I guess.
To take on Mickey Mouse with it. Why is Mickey Mouse the champ though? I feel like Mickey Mouse should Yeah, Mickey Mouse should be a heel though, right? That would be fun. It's you should make Mickey Mouse the bad guy, right?
Well, wouldn't it be Donald though that would be the heel?
I mean, probably, I guess, right?
Yeah, I feel Donald would fit that a lot better than Mickey.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, that's a good point. I think sometimes, I mean, I remember when I watched wrestling, The Rock was, pretty big, and I remember they tried to make him a bad guy and make him a heel at one point, and it didn't really take because people just like The Rock. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, okay, fine. So I guess Mickey has to stay as a good guy.
Yeah, so who would you put on the line to square off against Mickey?
I'm going Pig like Pete. How many times Pete beats Mickey all the time?
Well, right? wasn't there a Mickey short where they did this, where Pete was the wrestling guy, and then they threw Mickey into the ring, and then Donald ended up beating Pete because Pete smashed Donald's nachos.
Which one was that?
I need to find.
Was it an old one or a newer one?
No, this was one of the Mickey shorts.
Okay, one of the new Mickey shorts. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
They have done this.
Okay, so you haven't answered your question, but I think it's Pete though, right? Pete's like the mortal enemy of Mickey, and he's got a size advantage. You know, what's that?
The episode's called Tapped Out.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I go Pete. Pete's my odds-on favorite there.
Well, I mean, yeah. So going up against Mickey, he's not winning against Mickey though.
No.
But like, so that's just that's somebody to square up. But I think he's saying, who would you put as a favorite to win? Pete's
but nobody wins against Mickey, though, right? Like nobody's going to win against Mickey, though.
I think in wrestling you can have somebody take the belt and then have him take it back.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think Pete would win. I think you have Pete win, and then you have Mickey triumphantly take it back. I was just thinking to myself, what other matches could I imagine? And I was thinking Donald versus Chip and Dale for the tag team championship. We have Donald and somebody else. I don't know, maybe Goofy. But, Chip and Dale are always the bane of Donald's existence in all the old cartoons, right? So, I mean, listen, he has a size advantage, but they're tricksters, those Chip and Dale.
I feel in this case that the exciting thing to be would have the dark horse, because they do the dark horse thing in wrestestling matches. The person who comes out of nowhere and wins it, right?
Yeah.
In this case, it would be the dark donkey, which would be Eeyore. I think Eeyore coming in and like take it, and it would be funny because he would not like have any emotion about it. He would just like defeat Mickey and be like, okay, I'm the champion.
And then Tigger would run in from backstage and hit somebody with a chair,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is a ridiculous conversation.
I like it. All right. I appreciate it.
All right,
I hope everyone's visualizing like
all of this happening.
You're pinning Mickey for the belt.
Well, that's but they always do the thing, where we're not really reaching a lot of our audience by talking about this, but they always do the thing where they when they first pin them, they go, for the 2 count, and then they elbow up,
kick off, and,
yeah. So there's got to be a couple pin attempts. Who would the referee be? That is a good question. Who's the referee? I feel like Goofy would be a good referee.
Yes, yeah.
I think Goofy's a good choice for that.
So yeah, somebody more like somebody who's definitely very neutral. But
yeah. I mean, but everybody's against Pete though. Like nobody's rooting for Pete.
Yeah, I'm going outside of like just like the Mickey Mouse universe. I'm going into like the extended
universe.
Yeah, for some reason the fairy godmother. It seemed like I don't know why. I feel like she would be a good ref.
Interesting. That's an interesting thought. I hadn't really thought about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not bad. That's not bad. Why don't we do our ad?
Yeah.
Move on from wrestling and talk about other stuff. And by the way, Damon had to leave us. He had a obligation he forgot about.
Yeah, family obligations took priority, which is all good.
So guys, it's 2024 now. We still have our sponsors from before. I'm sure people probably skip over the ads. I know when I listen to podcasts, I skip over the ads, right? But you shouldn't skip over this ad, because if you love Disney and you're interested in DVC, you need to talk to DVC Resale Market, who is a World of DVC company, and they're the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former DVC guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. And if you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2023 alone, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. So go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home. So that's really important that you do the /welcome home, or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. So what other questions do we want to do here? I'm just, by the way, as we were doing this, I'm just looking up how much it would cost me to do 2 separate rooms, do a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom instead of the grand. It is a lot less points.
Weird how that works.
Yeah, that's actually thinking about this. But listen, I'm going to talk to my. And there is actually availability at Saratoga, so I could pull this off at Saratoga if I wanted to. Maybe I'll have some conversations here. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah. You need to talk with your group, right?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Anyway.
I actually want to touch. So Jeremy had an interesting question that is, it's kind of it's Disney adjacent, but so Jeremy says, I've never been to a Gen Con, but I'm going this year as I'm trying to sign up for as many Lorana events as possible. For anyone that doesn't know, Lorana is Disney's current. It's a collectible card game where it's like Magic the Gathering. If you've ever played a card game like that.
Yeah.
So he's asking, have any of you guys ever been to any huge conventions like that? I'm from a very rural area and I'm expecting it to blow my mind. So I guess I'll take this first because Damon's not here, and I know Damon's done a lot of the stuff. He actually said that, or he replied back to Jeremy and said he's done a lot of these things. So I'm sure he has the most experience here. But for me, we have so it's not just like collectibles, but we have a comic and video game expo here, which it sounds like this is the same kind of thing where, it's a big expo. There'll be a whole bunch of booths. There will be seminars, all kinds of stuff going on, which, they are definitely, they're great places. I feel to, if you're looking for something specific, like around a particular card game, it can be, in my opinion, these conventions can be 50-50. Like sometimes you'll get what you want out of them. Sometimes you'll go and you'll find that it doesn't offer you at all what you're looking for. So my experience is I'm outside of Disney. My big passion is around video games. So I always go to these expos looking for like retro video games, collectibles around, certain IPs, like, Mega Man, Metroid, stuff like that. And I found that going to some of these expos that I've had some where it's like, there's people there, there's artists, there's great people you can meet, and you can get the opportunity to talk to people that, sometimes are in the industry or that, have connections to these things. And it's a great way to, you actually can end up meeting people that you become friends with there, which is very cool. Kind of like how we became friends on this podcast by, we all had the same passion around, Disney and DVC.
Yeah.
But I've also had other expos where I've gone and I've walked around and it's like, there's nothing here that I want. Like it's a bunch of, people with booths, there's art and stuff like that. And it's like, there's nothing interesting about it. So I guess my thing about them is, go into it, with tempered expectations. Don't go in saying, assuming that you'll be disappointed. But I wouldn't go in assuming that, like it's not going to be like like a massive shrine to like Disney Lorana in the corner either, right? Yeah, that's my experience with them. Like I said, I enjoy them from time to time, but for me personally, like Damon, I can go out and do stuff and interact with people, but I have a threshold where when it gets to be too much, I find that I just need to go find somewhere quiet, and there's nowhere quiet to go at an expo. Like people are just on all day. And for me, it gets to be like, I can go and walk around a floor for a couple of hours and then I'm done. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have not done one of these. I am not opposed to doing one. I think it would be fun, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It should be. I mean, he's from very rural areas, so I mean, it's if you've never seen a lot of people in one place at once, yeah, it might blow your mind. I mean, I've done other conventions, just not. I've never done like a Comic-Con or like this Gen Con. I've never done any of those kinds of things. Mostly because I'm not, this is really bad. I've talked about this before. I'm not like super, I don't think I have a fandom that I'm like obsessed with. You know what I mean? Like I like a lot of things, but I'm not I mean, I guess Disney, but like that encompasses a lot of things, right? Like, so I'm not like, I don't have a specific thing. I mean, I would love to go to D23. I've talked about that many times. I mean, it's a different kind of convention, right? But, I would love to do D23. I think that would be super fun. Because that kind of falls into the place where my fandom is the most, I don't know, fervent. I don't know,
it's the most bang for your buck, right? Like it's something like I said, for me, that kind of goes back to where, going to these expos is like, my passion is around gaming, and specifically like retro gaming. So like I don't even go looking for like, what's the newest game. I'm looking for, weird, obscure retro games and stuff like that. And that's very specific too. Like I go to these things going, I don't expect to find anything. And I'm usually pleasantly surprised when I do.
Yeah,
so
I get that. Yeah, I get that. All right, let's move on to Justin's question, because I feel like this is an easy question to answer. Do you believe that WDW should have a larger array of sizing for clothing? I'm 6'5" and need 4XL for length. Yikes! That's you're
fair.
A tall man. Yeah, I mean, simple answer, yes. They should have more selection. I want for you, Justin, to be able to buy your 4XL length shirt because you're 6'5". That's very tall.
Yeah, I agree, because my brother is also that tall. And
is your brother 6'5"? Really?
Yes, he is. He's way tall. I know you and I have met. You wouldn't believe it, but
well, you're you're like 6 foot, right? You're taller than me.
I'm 5'9".
Really?
So yeah. Okay. So he is way taller than me, and he has this problem as well that whenever he goes anywhere, he can't find shirts and stuff like that fit him most of the time, because it sucks, because you would think that Disney. Disney's kind of leaving money on the table if you think about it, like, because there is a whole, demographic of people that don't fall into small, medium, and large. Right.
Yeah. And by the way, when I said yikes before, that's like, I'm impressed at how tall you are. That's amazing. You don't meet a lot of 6'5" people, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's not, I wasn't trying to say it in a derogatory way. So please don't hate on me, Justin. I want you to have bigger shirts. And I know we've gotten this complaint too in our store that we don't have a wide variety. I think there's just not a lot of companies that make them, right? Like it's just not a, it's just a little bit tougher. I don't know. Because even like our t-shirt vendor doesn't have as many options, right?
Yeah, it's weird how it's not like it's not like there's not a lot of tall people out there.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Like I guess maybe my experience is anecdotal, because I do have tall people in my family. Like outside of my brother, I have uncles that are like same height as him, like 6'4", 6'5". So I guess when I look at my family, it's like, oh yeah, everybody's tall, and I'm one of the shorter people in my family.
Yeah.
So, I just assume that, there should be a selection of stuff out there for people that, like I said, don't fit into small, medium, and large.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But, Disney could pioneer on this stuff. They could absolutely, offer like I know what you're saying, that, across manufacturers, most manufacturers don't want to go outside of the common sizes, because I'm sure there's a whole bell curve on sizing that somebody figured out years ago that probably nobody's revisited. And that's probably part of the problem, is that they've looked at averages and gone, oh, this is the average size for a small, medium, and large. And I'm sure, people have just stuck by that. But I feel like, this is something that Disney could look at. And I think part of it too is that, Disney they don't generally manufacture their own stuff. And I'm sure, anybody that's, been to Disney in the last, 5 or 10 years, you'll notice that, they always have stuff, they partner with companies like, Dooney and Burke, or, Loungefly for bags, right? Or, for shirts, they'll have like an artist do stuff, but everything that they're manufacturing, they're doing it through these third parties. So I think unless Disney comes to them and says, hey, I want you to make me, this particular size, the vendors won't do that.
Yeah.
Right. Like it would take Disney going to them and saying, you need to make it in these sizes because we say so.
Yeah, exactly.
Which to that end, I guess if you're getting, if somebody's asking you to take the survey as you're walking out of the park, I would say, go for it and make sure you put in there, you guys don't offer sizes that fit me. Right. And I think if Disney got enough of that feedback, they may go back to their vendors and say, hey, you need to offer more stuff beyond the standard sizing.
So let's start a petition.
Well, it's not a petition. I think tell everybody as you're walking out of the park to take that survey, right?
The survey.
Those surveys I feel are a good way for them to get blind opinions on stuff. Whereas the problem with making a petition is that petitions get ignored. Like people don't take petitions seriously most of the time.
No, that's exactly true. No, you're very right about that. They do get ignored quite a bit, right? So, so let's move on to Chris's question. Where would you like to see DVC build a new resort at? I think DVC should build a resort at every single park across the world. So I can, if I want to go to Tokyo, I can go stay at a DVC resort there without having to do, all the crazy exchange stuff. Like, do it everywhere. Put one resort everywhere.
I mean, there's one in Aulani, so just go a little bit further across the ocean and
just across the ocean a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I agree. I would love for there to be a DVC resort, so like near one of the Asia parks.
Yeah,
because that would help with getting it would cut there. Some of the cost. Yeah,
exactly.
And I would love to see that as an option.
Agreed. So I mean that's all we got on that one, right? So Daniel, I think we've answered this question before, but wishful thinking's any thoughts on the possibility to expand the Skyliner to Animal Kingdom, Old Key West, and Saratoga? Also, staying at Kidani in August. I know you can't get to AK from there except for driving or bus. How hard would it be to put a walking path? Is it too far? Trolley. What does trolley mean? Just saying add a trolley, anything but a bus. 2 strollers with 3 kids on a bus is tough. I agree with that. I'm the guy that's, there's a thing that happens when, dads with strollers board the bus. They get stuck in that little spot where like the wheelchair ramp is, and everybody like gives you give each other the nod, you're doing the same thing me. And I only have 1 stroller, but like
doing the frantic fold to
you just do the folding, and you're holding on with one hand for dear life while you hope that the stroller doesn't go flying down the bus. That whole thing. I will say, I mean, I think it's not necessarily about. I think the walking path problem is just because of the animal parts. I think the way that the resorts are situated, the resort is situated in comparison to the park.
Okay, Google Maps.
Now we got to Google Map this. I think we've talked about doing this before, right? Like we've talked about how it would be, cool to do that, but I think it's a very short bus drive. I mean, it's just about as close as you can get, right? But
it's still a bus drive.
You still got to wait for the bus, and you still got to get on the bus, and you still got to get off the bus, and all that. So I get it. I get what your point is there.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at.
You got to look on the satellite view, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at the satellite view, and so there's Animal Kingdom Lodge, and the connector to, or the closest that I can see, or actually, okay, here's the first problem is that where Animal Kingdom Lodge is, there is a whole bunch of open space for the animals. Like behind Animal Kingdom Lodge, there's just like field for the animals there. So first of all, you couldn't just go out of the back of the lodge. You actually would have to go out of the parking lot, which puts you back on Osceola Parkway, which means you're literally just walking down the side of the road because there is no direct path there. And there was also a lake between you and Animal Kingdom.
And I just measured.
Apparently, it's called Black Lake because the road next to it is called Black Lake Road. Do you really want to mess with Black Lake when you're trying to get to Animal Kingdom?
Do you really want to mess with that? Well, and I just measured it too, by the Trevor, from like the entrance to the entrance to Jumbo. I'm just doing Jumbo, right? Like if we do Kidani, it's even further. It's about a mile. It's a pretty solid mile right there to go to and that's if you get a straight line, which you probably would not get a straight line, right? Like, so it's, I as nice as it sounds, I think it would be kind of like a long walk. And I think it would be kind of difficult because they have to build the bridge, like you said. They'd have to, work through some backstage areas too, which I'm sure they don't want you walking through the backstage areas.
Again, the direct line, it actually, if you were to draw from Kidani, the straight line there puts you in a parking lot behind Pandora.
Flight of Passage, yeah.
And you still have to deal with Black Lake because Black Lake goes along that whole side.
Unless you made like a walking path like next to the roads, but if you did that, you're talking a really long walk, right?
I feel the Skyliner would be the only real option to get across because of how that terrain is around there. That's really the only way to get over there. But then they also have to be careful about, I guess sightlines don't matter as much for the Skyliner because the way the Skyliner comes in on Epcot, it doesn't care about you can see backstage stuff. You can see,
Well, even when you come in by bus from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Animal Kingdom, you actually kind of drive through a backstage area, so you do see some backstage stuff already. But I actually just mapped out what a walking trail would look like, and it's over a mile if you were to follow the roads, right? Like if you were to just follow the roads, roughly. It would be like well over a mile. So, I mean you could do it, I guess, but
it's really no different than going from the Polynesian to Animal Kingdom, walking around the lake.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
But again, I wouldn't, that's like a last resort if I was going to do that. It's still a long way to go.
Yeah, that's pretty far. It's pretty far.
Yeah. So
I think it's, it's nice and all, right? Like it would be nice to do that. But I don't think it's happening.
There's a lot of physical logistics that would need to change.
But I will say, we've talked about this a couple times. I'm very much in favor of a Skyliner stop there, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Very much in favor.
Yeah. Skyliner back to Hollywood Studios would be the best.
How great would that be, right? Put the Skyliner everywhere. Just get rid of buses, make Skyliner everywhere.
And you could even have it stop at Blizzard Beach on the way there.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So, and then the last question we have is from Melissa. And Melissa also said, congratulations on the 250th. The show is great. And I'm glad you've been doing it so long. Thanks, Melissa. That's very nice of you. All right. So Reese, you want to read this?
Do we want to do the secret word in the middle of this?
Oh yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. Do you want to do the secret word? You going to whisper it? Like, is it like Pee-wee's Playhouse where the word of the day, or we all have to scream? Like,
do you want me? I could do my announcer voice.
Are you not doing your announcer voice now?
No.
I mean, I feel like your regular voice is just like an announcer voice.
I know I have the radio voice.
You do. You got the radio voice. Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're doing it. So
all right, do it.
The secret word is tourist.
I'm doing Pee-wee's Playhouse.
So write that down. We're going to have 2 more words coming after this. And you don't have to submit this secret word, but write this down somewhere and then give us all 3 words.
It needs to be submitted to contest@welcomehomepodcast.com. Contest@welcomehomepodcast.com.
Contest@welcomehomepodcast.com.
And so that's the word. So remember the word, and you can, maybe get a prize, and maybe we'll send some hats out too. I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling a little crazy to the people that don't win. I'll send some hats out.
Yeah.
Why not? Hats. We got some hats. We can send them out anyway. So Melissa says, with resale, yes, with resale restrictions on all new DVC resorts when the 2042 contracts expire, do you think they will impose restrictions if they sell them as new properties? If they do, won't that significantly reduce the number of resorts available for those without blue cards? It seems to me that starting in 2043, 6 resorts, and she lists them all, will no longer be available to resale owners. What do you think? Wow, that's a really interesting question, Melissa. I think I have no idea what they're going to do with those 2042 resorts. I've been wondering this for a long time. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I would think it would be crazy if they put resale restrictions on them, right?
I realize we're 18 years out from that happening.
Yeah, we're not that far off. It's not that far.
But that is an interesting question. That I guess the thing is, once the resorts expire, there's no reason why they couldn't redo them with new restrictions.
They could, but I don't know if they want to. I don't know. I mean, I get why they would want to, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because a lot can happen in 18 to 20 years, and I guess the thing is the current trend has been we keep they did it on the Riviera, where like they're not going to do this again, and then they did it at the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah. And
they're doing it for Wilderness Lodge.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
before Wilderness, you mean?
Or sorry. Yeah. My bad. Not Wilderness Lodge, Fort Wilderness.
Listen, you got to get that one right. That's a different.
You're right. I know. In my head, they're all the same resort, but Fort Wilderness is not Wilderness Lodge.
Oh, no, they're not. They're very.
Because I walk from Wilderness Lodge to
you
which is in Fort Wilderness. But
yeah, have you ever done the? Have we ever talked about the Surrey bikes? You ever done one of those Surrey bikes?
I have not. I'm aware of them, but I've never rented one.
They're very heavy, and it takes a lot to pedal them. But my wife and I did one from Wilderness Lodge to Fort Wilderness one time, and it was fun. But I was very tired afterwards, and my wife's a little short and couldn't reach the pedals, so I mostly spent time doing it myself.
and steering those things does not look fun either.
They're not that bad. I mean, I'll tell a story another time about the Surrey bikes. I had a lot of fun one time on a 4-person Surrey bike around the boardwalk. Anyway.
but back to this. I mean, there's no telling, Disney may change gears in the next, 20 years. Like I guess we don't know how many more resorts are going to be offered between now and then. And maybe they'll keep the restrictions the same because maybe that'll be a selling point in 2042. Yeah. Alongside whatever other resorts pop up between now and then.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think we really just have no idea what's going to happen, right? Like, and I would love to say, hey, I think that they're going to, make the restrictions on that too. But I don't know. I feel like it's a different scenario when you have resorts expiring, right? It's just different than buying into a new resort. So I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens. That's not a great answer, but I feel like if I speculate on it, I'm going to be like way off.
I feel like there's a whole like thing around incentive for a resort that we're not seeing. Like they can incentivize like, hey, you can buy, like you said, buying a resort that's like, well, this property has been around for 40 years, but buy into it, but it's going to be restricted and you're not going to be able to do stuff. Like I feel like Disney can use different things as incentive, and they may say, hey, because this is a classic resort that's been renewed, maybe there will be an incentive there that, you can still use it at the core DVC resorts, right? Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
And maybe they'll do something in between. Maybe they'll start, and actually, I of course, we forgot about the, what is that thing called that they're doing with Fort Wilderness? The
cabins.
No, not
the trust.
The trust.
Yeah, well, they haven't mentioned the trust yet, though. With Fort Wilderness, it's still kind of rumored,
right? But that's on the table too. Is that maybe they'll all get folded into the trust, and it'll have the same restrictions, a resale, but maybe you won't have, or maybe because it'll be in the trust, it won't have the limitations of being a standalone resort.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, Trevor. So we have 3 topics that I actually put on the rundown. I think we should choose one of them to talk about. So the options
are... Where's the third one? Oh.
So we have BoardWalk Villas refurbished room pictures, which is, a DVC topic. We have 50, it says Galentine's Day gifts, okay, for Disney Minnie Mouse fans. I feel like that's my least likely to pick. And then we have a foodie guide, which, I always like talking about food, as I've said many times in the show. So I don't know. What do you think? Which one do you want to cover? It's tough, right?
Okay. Photos of the BoardWalk refurbed room, or actually, okay, I'm on the fence with the.
Yeah, we could talk about that one and the food if we want to.
Okay, the food I'm not. I know it's celebrate soulfully. I'm not feeling the soul food. But,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So let's talk about the BoardWalk Villa refurbed rooms.
All right. Yeah, this is some DVC news, right?
And it's not okay. So the Galentine stuff, it's all Minnie Mouse stuff. I feel Tom and I are not the people to talk about Minnie Mouse.
It was a rough week for news and for topics. Yeah, I'm just telling you that right now.
And I am not the person to rate, whether Minnie Mouse stuff looks good or not. It all looks the same to me, and I'm going to catch hate for that. My wife is going to kill me for saying
probably
she loves Minnie.
Yeah, no,
she should. But I don't. Should be true. It's not my thing.
So these pictures of BoardWalk, I love BoardWalk. A lot of people love BoardWalk. I know you haven't stayed at BoardWalk, but BoardWalk is in the midst of the hard goods refurbishment, which is basically they replace pretty much everything in the room, right? So, and so we're getting some first pictures now. They've redone the flooring, the cabinets, the tile, bathroom furnishings, and then they also put in the pull down Murphy beds, which I think at this point every time they do a refurb, they're putting in those pull down Murphy beds because, listen, they're way more comfortable than those pull out couches, and
they're 100 times better than the old pull out couches. Yes, absolutely.
So, and I think DVC members have very much spoken on that one. Like, we want those in all the rooms, make it happen, right? So they're doing it, right? I mean, they're putting them everywhere for the most part. So. But I have to say, looking at these pictures, and having stayed at BoardWalk before, it's got the same vibe to it. It's I really like some of the art that they have in here. There's some really cool art, and especially art of the last time we stayed there, we had a room that overlooked the little green area right on the backside of the front of the lobby of the resort, where they do they do movies and stuff like that. What?
So the backside of the front of the lobby.
Did I say the front? I said the backside of the lobby.
You said the backside of the front of the lobby.
Well, it's weird because the front of the resort is not the front of the resort to me, right? Because I'm so used to coming into it from the BoardWalk side, right? So it's almost that's the front of the resort to me, But yes. It's on the backside of the lobby. There's the big green area where they do movies and people will sit out and stuff like that. And so they have a really kind of cool picture of Mickey and Minnie having a picnic in that area. So I think that's pretty cool. I like, it just has this a really nice beachy vibe to it. I know a lot of people don't love the recent refurbishments because they feel like they're taking the Disney flair out of things. But this looks nice to me.
Yeah, these, I mean, I know what you're saying. Yeah. They don't always have the Disney vibe to them, but there is still flair in these rooms. And there is, I think the biggest thing is that these rooms are way more functional. Like you said, the Murphy bed is the prime example of that.
100%.
As much as I know I'm going to a Disney room, I also don't want it to be a Disney room, but a room that I can't be comfortable in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I noticed I'll have to check this when I'm at the Poly, but I never noticed that. So the coffee table in front of the Murphy bed, pulls up to a proper, a table where you could eat at.
I think I've only seen that at BoardWalk. I don't know if I've seen that anywhere else.
Well, I'm going to check this when I'm at the Polynesian, because I never thought to check the coffee table if it would do something like that.
It is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like having because again, it's also the thing, during the day you want somewhere to eat, or, you can put the Murphy bed up and you can eat sit on the couch and eat. And so you don't have to, it's just more functional space, right? You don't have to be trying to find somewhere for everyone to eat, especially if you got a bunch of people in the room. It's not that, one person's eating at the bathroom counter because there's nowhere else to eat. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else. I think we can probably wrap this up this week. I mean, happy 250th episode. I think we are going to do something to celebrate the, what is it, 6th year of the podcast?
Yeah.
The 6th year anniversary in April. Yeah, so we'll probably, I mean, I know we said we were going to do a live show for the holidays and then never materialized. I understand that was our fault. We just got busy and we just didn't have a chance to get it done. And so, as much as we wanted to do it, it just didn't happen. But we will plan one for, I think, for the anniversary of the show. I can't believe it's been 6 years. It's kind of crazy to me, but it's been 6 years. So, but thank you for, everybody that's listened for that long. That's great. I mean, 250 episodes is a long time. I feel like most podcasts are gone by, before episode 100. So the fact that we've lasted this long is great,
Yeah, it definitely, I think, hopefully for anybody listening, that we're in this for the long haul at this point. I mean,
yeah.
We're still enjoying ourselves. And that was the whole reason that this podcast got started, was because, we all wanted to do this and it was fun. So,
yeah,
we're excited that we're coming up on 6 years, and, this contest that we started, we're going to start doing more stuff like that. It's not going to be the same thing all the time. We're going to try some different things. So,
yeah,
I think that's, we have to keep the podcast interesting. So, hopefully you guys will come along with us and see, we'll see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay. So, as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us about anything, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your questions. We read them out on the show. We love hearing from you guys on your own trip reports, or, people ask us questions and stuff. We love talking to you guys. So you can always find us there. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast, and you can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. So, lots of places to follow us there. On Facebook, you can also find our group, which is called Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. We got, it's one of the better Disney groups out there. People post memes in there all the time. There's discussion about the shows. So a lot of our listener questions come from there. So if you're looking for a group of people that talk about Disney, we've seen a lot of, I've seen a lot of the posts in there, people asking questions about their trips, trying to figure stuff out. It's a great place to just, not just talk with us on the podcast, but talk with a lot of other people that are just as passionate about Disney. So if you're passionate about Disney, come join our group and hang out with us for a little while. If you'd like to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can check out our different merch there. So we've got shirts and fanny packs and mugs, all kinds of different stuff that you can get that, has the Welcome Home Podcast logo on it. And if you'd rather, you can also go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and support the show through Patreon. Patreon has a different version of our logo, and it's exclusive to Patreon. And also all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we have similar conversations, questions come out of there. It's just, it's another platform that we love talking with our listeners. So, if you'd like to get on that, please check out our Patreon. Last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review, because it helps more people find the show. And, you can also leave us a review on iTunes, because, iTunes will let you do that. I don't know why Spotify doesn't let you leave reviews, but, we love seeing your reviews on iTunes, and we'll read them out on the show if you want to share your thoughts about it.
I was trying to say, but I was on mute. They do let you leave a star review on Spotify, just not actual words. So
yeah, that's what I mean. They'll only let you leave a star review, but I'd love to hear people's feedback on there, but apparently you can only do it through iTunes.
I will say we did get a recent review, a 5-star review from Micus or Mike, whatever it is, and it's a shrugging emoji with 5 stars that says almost as good as Golden Button Detours. So listen, I don't care if you say that. I'm fine with it as long as it's 5 stars. That makes me happy.
Yep. All good.
All good. You can say that all you want. So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, which is going away, by the way. I believe Google Podcasts are all shifting to YouTube Music. So if you're listening there, you might have to find a new way. But by the way, Apple Podcasts is going to have automatic transcripts, too, of our show now, too. That's a new thing that they're instituting. So, yeah. Interesting. You can find our podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app available. You can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions expressed on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. A huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Resale Market, and World of DVC, as usual, for sponsoring this show and sponsoring this episode. Please check them out for your DVC needs. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.